10 St. Louis, it has been one of the epicenters of the sport. And one more Sweet 16 slot waiting to be filled. Iowa State and Kentucky in a 2-7 matchup for the Midwest winner. Moving on. Chip Kissinger, a veteran of 3 Final Fours, Todd Austin and Tony Chiazza, our officiating crew. And we are underway here in St. Louis.
And I'm just looking for the comfort level that Iowa State starts with in the first 4 minutes here, Spiro, just to see if they run their sets. There's one right there.
Blake Buchanan, one of the players that Otzelberger is going to lean on in this kind of a spot without Jefferson.
My guess is that we got a shot at TJ on the sidelines with his players. There's a backdoor cut also.
Away! Young man who has basically been unstoppable. 28 of his 35 the other night came after halftime as he willed the Wildcats into the round of 32. This is Milan Momcilovic.
If I recall, one of his shots was a fairly important shot, wasn't it?
You got a good memory.
Thank you.
High Z, well short. How does Kentucky attack this Iowa State defense?
I think they use their strength and length down low if they can get some touches. I hope that their guards are shooting the ball well, in particular right here, making things happen with Chandler.
Into the corner, Olway doesn't have a lot of space from High Z, short. The other thing about Jefferson being out, he's not only a great scorer, he's also one of the Cyclones' top playmakers as Torrey. And we're going to get a palming violation carry on Olway, so a tough break for Kentucky.
You went old school on me just then, didn't you? Palming, I love it. Bring it back, here it is. Now that is a high dribble, but he took it from underneath and over, so that's the correct call. Sometimes you can get away with the high dribble and just keep going with it, not from bottom up though.
Just making sure you're listening to me, Jim.
What's that?
Here comes High Z, nice strip. Yelovich. Nice work defensively with his hands, so Iowa State turns it over.
So he's active early on, trying to make things happen. Wasn't even touched, wasn't fouled. He coming off this 4 of 5 shooting night against Tennessee State from the 3-point line where he had 22 points, looked very comfortable. Just can't put so much pressure on himself as a starter right now. Big shoes to fill, but don't try to fill all the shoes the way Jefferson plays.
No team has been in the tournament more times or won more tournament games than the Wildcats. Into the corner, this is Chandler. He can strike it, splash!
It's exactly what they need. They need him to get on track. 41% shooter from long range. Guess what? He was 1 of 9 the other night, so that's a big one to get him started.
Taming Lipsy even more on his shoulders with the absence of Jefferson. Buchanan. 2 cracks at it, they come up empty.
Actually, not a bad offensive rebound there for Buchanan. Well positioned on the offensive glass.
2.5 gone by. Yelovich probing. Smart pass, backdoor. He gets it to Aberdeen.
Well, the backdoors, we've seen 2 of them already. So does that mean that Iowa State is going to slide back just a hair, a foot or so, and stay away and not give up those backdoors?
Lipsy with a 2-man action, but how good has Chandler been as a defender?
Nice reaction just then to get back into the fray to get a hand on it. So here's that 3 from Chandler. Get a good look, long range, and watch for the back door. You lean a little bit this way, and you're going to go on him.
Well, you wondered how the Wildcats would come in off the emotional high that they experienced here on Friday. Momcilovic doesn't need much daylight. Not close that time, and so Iowa State trying to get their offense calibrated here at the start.
Yeah, even a miss doesn't affect him. He'll come down. If he gets another open look, he'll shoot it.
Aberdeen, a couple of hard fakes. They didn't bite. Yelovich lost it. Turnover.
Yep, off his foot. Now keep in mind with Iowa State, without Jefferson too, Spiro, they're going to be more of a perimeter-oriented team, so watch for some openings. And there's that play by Lipsy to knock it off the leg. No argument.
So the second turnover now for Kentucky, 2 each. As we play with 3.5 minutes gone by. Jamarian Bateman and Dominicus Plata, early subs for TJ Otzelberger.
It's one thing to play the perimeter, but you have to challenge.
Iowa State has missed 5 of their first 6.
That feeling out process for themselves. It's one thing you're feeling out Kentucky defense, but you're also trying to figure out your sets at the beginning of the game without Jefferson.
Officials are going to get Bateman, and Owe looks to be in some pain as he takes a nasty little spill. You can watch every men's game live on your computer, phone, tablet, or streaming device with NCAA March Madness Live. Download now to stay up to date on all the action. This place packed to capacity for these 2 power conference programs doing battle on a big stage here in St. Louis. Aberdeen against Killian Torrey.
Good matchup out front there.
The athleticism between those 2 young players.
Torrey coming off a 25-point game. He's wide open again.
Chandler, soft touch. And that's his spot early in this game.
Yeah, if you get the rotation on the basketball that he just got, that's why you get those second little bounces. Nice play.
Heisey.
Yeah, that was not a pass. That was a shot. So he took that off the offensive carom. Good pass here, just not delivered. Too low for the big guy. Kentucky out to a good start here, finding the corners, and Chandler. Look at the rotation, a bounce, a kick, and it falls. Nice touch.
Joshua Jefferson is out today for Iowa State, and there is no set timetable for his return should the Cyclones advance today in St. Louis. Iowa State is taking this as day-to-day moving forward. As you and Jim talked about, this opens the door for more minutes for Nate Heisey. TJ Otzelberger has told me all season long that Heisey was the X factor for Iowa State, and the numbers bear it out, Spiro. When Heisey scores in double figures, the Cyclones are 8-1, the 1 loss against Kansas at Allen Fieldhouse, Spiro.
John, they're so deep. They're so well coached. Lipsy put a sleight of hand, nifty little finish as he comes down the paint. One interesting thing TJ Otzelberger said yesterday when we sat with him, when Jefferson has been off the floor, the ball tends to move a little bit more.
Yes.
He said that in a positive way. A little bit more 4 guards on the floor as they try to figure their way through.
Yeah, there's a second part of that too. Mark Pope in Kentucky recognizes what they're going through, losing their very instrumental player. So they're going to try to attack in different ways and be able to go to the basket.
Shot clock down to 3. Aberdeen has to fire and buries it.
Not a whole lot you can do defensively if he strokes that shot like that.
Won a national championship as one of Todd Golden's key reserves last year at Florida. Bateman misfires from deep. Offensive rebound, Buchanan.
Yeah, can't say enough about Buchanan's play.
Lipsy, corner 3, no, and the rebound corralled by Brandon Garrison, who was a force in their first round victory over Santa Clara.
A couple of shots that he blocked out on the perimeter were just extraordinary defensive plays that really helped them win the basketball game.
He just hopped on with his Kentucky. Is 5 of their first 6 from the field, including 3 of 4 from deep. Here comes Diabate, off balance, tough shot, rebound Buchanan. Tough outlet, Momcilovic can't track it down. And an unforced turnover by the Cyclones, their 3rd.
So this is one of those small versus tall mismatches out front. He just patiently waits, half a step back, and buries it.
Substitution by Mark Pope. Cam Williams is going to come into the game, his 5th game since returning from that near 2-month absence from that broken left foot that he sustained late January. Missed 7 weeks, returned for the SEC tournament. All the injuries that Mark Pope and this Kentucky team have had to contend with this season.
Yeah, just constantly putting glue on his program to keep them together.
Aberdeen into the corner. This is Owe. Good defense, but a little too much physicality from Torrey.
Yeah, you lead with those hands. Good footwork at the beginning, then the hands come up.
We asked Mark Pope how he felt after the emotional high. He said, look, I've won a national championship. I've had the good fortune to play in so many big spots. I've never experienced something like that at the end of that game with that miracle shot by Owe.
I don't know. I never did either. Bang those 2 threes back to back. In less than, what, 4 seconds or so?
Aberdeen, red hot.
Yeah, This is a Kentucky team that's really playing on a high after that win that you just touched on Friday, Spiro. They look like they're in total control and comfortable.
Three-pointer from Bateman. No, Lipsy's going to get him an extra possession. Now to High Z. And Iowa State still looking for their first three. They're 0 for 6.
Those shots were going down against Tennessee State.
What a pass. Garrison underneath. Thread the needle to Diabate. Poked away. High Z. Garrison takes it back. Floater. No. Tapped up and in. Diabate. And how about this start from the Wildcats?
Well, if Iowa State isn't hitting those shots like they were the other night. Oh, this is called the foul just then, too, didn't they? It's getting loud in here already.
For Mark Pope's team jumping on this wounded Iowa State team and throwing haymakers here at the start.
Diabate with terrific position down low.
So Brandon Garrison, who had those 2 critical blocks late in the victory over Santa Clara. 2 of his career-high 6 blocks in that game. CBS Tonight, see why over 20 million viewers and counting have made Marshall's TV's #1 news show. Marshall's, a new era of Yellowstone. New episode tonight on CBS. Good to have you with our CBS crew. Spiro Ditas, Jim Spinarkle, John Rothstein, our producer Bill Thayer, our director Mike Arnold, rest of our CBS crew. What has been a thrilling couple of days here in St. Louis.
Iowa State started the other night 14 of 20 from the floor. Today, 3 of 13. There's a total difference to the way that game was played. That a competition is a bit different right now, too.
Lipsy had the steal, glides to the basket. Big play by one of the all-time Cyclones.
Torre with a good release pass to Spiro to get an easy bucket and get some of their fans involved in this game.
Chandler hounded on the perimeter. Garrison defended by Plata.
Keep looking for the backdoor cuts along the baseline. Strong man-to-man, especially out on the perimeter.
This is Diabate. Look at the defense from Lipsy. Williams, hard fake. 3 to shoot. Chandler, short. Rebound, Diabate.
Blue shirts are really working underneath that offensive glass and also working to position themselves in their offensive sets, and it is paying dividends early on here.
For Diabate, how big of a season has he put together? His mom, Chilovic, is fouled on a 3-point attempt. See if that can't get his offensive game going as their sharpshooter looks for his first points.
And just keep working that offensive glass. Even if you get a lucky bounce once in a while, then finish it off.
All right, TJ, how do you tighten your 3-point defense?
Yeah, I mean, they're doing a good job moving the basketball, knocking out shots. Our defense is effective over 40 minutes, so at times people hit shots early, and those are shots later that are a lot tougher. So we just got to stay the course and keep guarding.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
TJ Otzelberger, sleep deprived.
Yep.
Always trying to spin it positive. What a coach, what a program he's built in Ames. We asked him, about the devastating injury for Jefferson, and he said, look, adversity hits you at times that you can't predict. You can either wallow in it or attack the moment.
Yeah, and I think the message also to John just then was, if they hit some shots, he's smart enough to know how to figure out how to make some in-game decisions and adjustments. That's why they're so successful. They stay with the culture that they have, the understanding of what they're trying to do, and he will make those in-game adjustments.
Iowa State,
wow, that's not
to
good.
9, and we get an illegal pick on Moreno.
Is that going to be called a pick, you think, or a block?
Sure felt like a block. Yes, High Z.
I felt that one over here. That opens up a little bit of a door right now for Iowa State to get some rhythm at the offensive end.
This is Plata, young man, born and raised in Germany. Lipsy taking some contact, and he's going to shoot free throws.
Yeah, you can tell with the player the way he leans, Spiro, whether he thinks he's going to get to the line, and he hesitated just a little bit. And watch him come back this way, just a touch. See how he slides in there? He knows he has position. He's small going in there versus the taller two guys that are on the Kentucky team, but he figures out a way at 6'1" to get to the line. Smart play.
Tamin Lipsy, what a story, what a career. Young man who grew up in the shadows of the Iowa State campus. One of a long list of Ames high school legends. Harrison Barnes, Doug McDermott, of course Fred Hoiberg. The all-time careers in the history of their program. And now without Jefferson, his star teammate. A lot of pressure on that young man's shoulders.
It's got to be excruciating for Jefferson over there, too. Not being able to play. There's that back door, third one we've seen.
Wade lost the handle. They get it to Chandler. Corner three. Missed it.
2-on-1 if they hurry.
Lipsy trying to force the issue, and we're going to get contact underneath. They're going to get Jasper Johnson. And that's just a veteran play by Lipsy,
Sure
almost forcing the official to blow the whistle. Oh, when it comes to sports, you can never have enough. Hit every highlight with CBS Sports HQ, streaming free 24/7.
You touched on it too, Spiro. His ability as an experienced player to get to the line again. High percentage of the time on a break. If he's got you one-on-one, he's going to figure out a way to make you make a mistake and then finish it off.
Remember, he was saddled with the foul issues in round one against Tennessee State. They didn't need him much. They won the game by 30-plus points. And as TJ Otzelberger said, there haven't been too many times where Tamin Lipsy has had off games in succession.
Oh no, he's so confident in that kid. He's just giving him a couple of breaks here and there. Oh, there you go.
Corley to steal. A foot race and the finish.
Nice work by Chandler to get back on that play. Turre had to put that ball almost behind his head to be able to deliver it. A little run here for Iowa State.
Johnson's going to pull. Offensive rebound. Moreno had it. Momcilovic takes it away.
Yeah, because he started to bring it down to where the guys could get it chest high.
Dominic Nelson has checked in, first time for Otzelberger. As we come up on the midway point, the Cyclones punching their way back into it here in St. Louis.
He's got size advantage. Should be able to use his little step back if he wants it. There it is.
The spin, the fade, cash money.
Hello, Dirk.
9 straight for the Cyclones.
Oh, right to him, too. That's as easy a steal he's ever had. Oh.
Iowa State fans ready to explode.
I know he's a great shooter, Spiro, but I think you give that up to Buchanan running the floor. Here it is, little step back. I got the size. Now you're done.
Look at our game summary here in St. Louis, just past the midway point of the first half. Kentucky Wildcats built that early lead, but here come the Cyclones now. 2-point game, 9 straight points. Kentucky, Jim, just 4 points in the last 4 minutes.
Right, and 4 for 8 from the three-point line. Early on, they hit some, Spiro, but that free throw line is not a factor for them. No free throw attempts yet. They got to start pushing this thing towards the middle of the floor and towards the basket, try to get some of those freebies.
If you've just joined us, Kentucky jumped out to a 12-point lead. They had complete control before the Cyclones started to get comfortable. Lipsy nearly the steal. Shot clock at 7. Underneath Yelovich. Traveling violation.
Pretty good recovery there by Iowa State. They were in a little bit of trouble on an entry pass. But the two guys reacted very quickly. There's number 1 holding his ground. Here comes number 2. And number 3, actually, in Buchanan being the third guy in.
So 5 of Kentucky's 8 turnovers in the last 3 minutes and 20 seconds. We hit the 9-minute mark. This is High Z stepping into that starting role for Jefferson today. Lipsy, a couple of twirls, reset Nelson. 6 to shoot.
Uh-oh, watch this, Spiro.
Momcilovic. Oh. That's not quite outside of his range. Here comes Owe. Quiet start. A little bit of a trip. They're going to get Momcilovic here. So Owe, Jim, who's been quiet till this point. 2 points. He's only taken 2 shots. That time able to draw contact as he comes into the paint.
They may have gotten a knee-on-knee here if you look closely. Right across there because he came out. He was a little bit hobbled, but not much. Right there, I think it was.
He's still trying to walk it off as he rubs on that leg.
Third team foul for Iowa State.
Bateman and Torrey back into the game for Iowa State.
That was a set play. That was quick. Maybe, not maybe, but definitely too quick.
Aberdeen hit those 2 early threes. Boy, the officials are going to say hold on Chandler. Appeared to be an Iowa State turnover and a break for T.J. Otzelberger's Cyclones.
T.J. Otzelberger is just, I think he's comfortable where his team has been the last 3 minutes of this game. If there's a reason he doesn't catch the ball, see that hook by Chandler on the right hand in particular, right arm.
Wow. All over it underneath Lipsy, and more free throws coming up.
See Lipsy go by. Now watch what he's looking at here, Spiro. He goes in. Watch where the ball goes. You see how that ball tucks a little bit behind him? That's to get the momentum of the body in the contact right there. And then you try to make the shot. But you initially want to make sure you're getting body on body, because the worst thing you want out of that drive as a smaller guard against the big guys is to get to the free throw line. If you make the bucket, that's even better.
Looks like the athletic trainer has been summoned for Kentucky to see if there's some blood on the back of the jersey of Yelovich. Iowa State, meantime, their 10th and 11th free throw attempts of the game. Kentucky hasn't shot any till this point. Let's check in with John.
Well, Spiro, we've talked so much about retention the past couple of days in this climate. Iowa State returned 49.6% of its scoring from last season. That was the most among Big 12 teams entering this year. The best teams in the sport, Jim, are retaining at a high level.
Yeah, exactly. And they're building cultures. The guys, with the way he runs a program, you either want to play for him or you don't. But he lays it out how difficult it is. They have discipline, and he's looking to make guys better when they leave his school, too, as far as young men are concerned.
Cyclones last year weren't able to get out of the first weekend, and not getting everything they want against this strong Kentucky team. Aberdeen taking contact.
Yeah, he caught Buchanan in like a no man's land just then. Buchanan didn't know whether he wanted to go after him or not. He backed off. And watch how he picks up the foul late into the fray right here. Buchanan, then he backs off a touch. Not going to work.
Mark, what was your message to your team when you called that timeout a couple minutes ago?
So we're okay. We started the game great. We got a little flustered. This is what Iowa State does. They turn it over sometimes. We just got to make sure that we protect this ball and make aggressive plays downhill and get to a second and third side. When we do that, we're really good.
Appreciate it.
Mark Pope trying to take his alma mater to the Sweet 16 for a second straight year. Preseason number 9 team in the AP poll. Kind of stumbled out of the gates, Jimmy. They were just 5-4, 9 games into the year. Of course, a host of injuries to key players. But you think back to that game that they had against St. John's, one of the few games where they had their full allotment of players, how good they looked.
Yeah, and I mean, the first 4 minutes of this game, they came out and they looked pretty good, actually, and get things started. But they've run into, you know, the turnovers, 8. I think they're kind of lucky they've only given up 7 points on those 8 turnovers, because as we just showed, there were 7 of them were unforced, which means you could go down the floor in a hurry on most of those.
Taman Lipsy gets it on the reset.
We got a mismatch in the middle.
Bateman is going to hoist it. Deep shot. Lipsy trying to save. And last touch by the Cyclones. We're going to get a foul here. I think we will. Loose ball foul against Iowa State. Lipsy going airborne, selling out his body. Iowa State now, Jim, is 0 for 9 from the 3-point line so far.
And that's why those 8 for 11 free throws matter big time for them until they get on track from the outside. There's a backdoor in the middle of the court.
Good movement away from deep. That's well short. So Kentucky now 4 of 10 from the three-point line.
Actually, one of their better sets in the last 3 minutes, Spiro, in terms of the way they ran that backdoor in the middle of the floor and then kicked it out to the left.
One thing to keep in mind, Oweh, as good as he was the other night, a little bit of a quiet start in that first half as well against Sarah. Remember, only had 7 points at the half before he went off for 28 after the intermission. And Chilovic back onto the floor for TJ Otzelberger as we hit the 7-minute mark. Torrey squares up.
I don't think he wanted to go back from that angle. It was 8 for 12 from the floor in the first game against Tennessee State.
Kentucky and Iowa State in a fight for a trip to the Sweet 16. The officials are going to say reach-in foul here. A little bit overly aggressive with the defense on Yelovich. Keep your eye on that hand of Oweh. A little bit of a flex.
Yeah.
It's like the right hand.
That'll have an impact on his shooting, obviously.
So something to keep tabs on. By the way, that last foul was against Torrey, his second. Plata sits, Buchanan in. Interesting to see how Otzelberger divvies up those Jefferson minutes.
I think he'll search and work his way through the first half, and then the guy who's playing, or 2 guys who are playing better in the second half, will get more of those minutes.
Yelovich outside to Chandler. Garrison shot clock at 3, skips Aberdeen. Or it's a tough shot deep in the shot clock.
Yeah, good work by Bateman coming down and finding a way to get to that rebound from outside.
Both teams are out of fouls as we come up on 6 minutes left in the half. Lipsy leads Buchanan. Yelovich. What a defensive recovery by Yelovich in tight.
Yeah, I think Buchanan thought he had a layup just then, and it was smothered in a hurry from the weak side.
The sophomore big from Zagreb, Croatia. Yelovich looking for some help. Edge of the circle. Chandler.
So set here, isn't it?
1 to shoot. Aberdeen has the fire.
Iowa State is clamping down right now. They're not scoring either.
Well, this has been a defensive slugfest the last couple of minutes. Lipsy, where there is a lid on that 3-point basket. They're 0 of 11 from distance.
Mark Cole puts his hand up to tell his guys to slow it down just a little bit. Let's make sure we get something good here. Great team defense, too, helping one another out. Iowa State.
Oweh shows the handle and buries it from deep.
Yeah, I'm looking at his right hand also. Doesn't seem like he's flexing it right now.
First 3 of the night for Oweh. SEC preseason player of the year, Momcilovic. Get it!
There's a great example of how he can get his shot off in a hurry. Came off the screen, wasn't wide open, just enough to flick it. And by the way, he doesn't get off the floor all that much with his jumper. That makes it even faster.
Yelovich trying to answer, well short.
Here's Oweh straight up. They needed that to go down to get him into the flow of offense. And then here he comes off that screen. Chandler right there where he's supposed to be, trailing it as best as possible, but just a little late. And Momcilovic drops it.
Nicely done. Everyone wondered what would Iowa State look like without Joshua Jefferson. They are fighting. Here against Kentucky. Bateman, they bothered the shot. Diabate was there. Moreno clears.
They got numbers if they want it.
Here's Diabate. Somehow saves to Williams. That's a 3. And give Diabate all the credit.
with you 100% on that. I'm not so sure how he got that before his foot came down out of bounds. But what a thought process, too, to save it and kick it at the same time in motion.
Kentucky fans raising the volume here in St. Louis. Lipsy, little bit of a flick, no offensive rebound. Buchanan.
Nice little look there.
Bateman's gonna pull. Right forward, weak side. Diabate's got it. He's been a beast.
Yeah, Lipsy was thinking he was being held there on the right side by Diabate.
5-point Kentucky lead, 3:13 remaining in regulation. Both teams out of fouls. Look at Owe. Boy, missed it somehow. Maybe he was surprised he had that much space.
Here we go.
Chilovic expecting contact. No, Lipsy's putback was blocked.
Yeah, it's a good no call out there on the perimeter, too.
Here comes Owe forcing the issue.
That might be a tie-up, is it, or no?
What are they going to say? They're going to say contact.
Wow.
Or no, they say jump.
Yeah.
Possession arrow will give it to Kentucky, so the Wildcats will retain, and it's getting wild here in St. Louis. Big stroke from Williams. High intensity with a Sweet 16 date on the line. Iowa State's Milan Momcilovic shooting ritual is to say the word jelly bean internally to himself for shot attempts. He started doing it after visiting with a sports psychologist to help sharpen his mindset as an athlete. He is currently shooting 49.4% from the three-point line, which is on pace, well on pace to set an NCAA single-season record. Jelly beans, whatever it takes, Jim.
Well, I wish I had known that when I was playing.
Final 2:49. Who touched it last? It's on Aberdeen.
I was saying like mashed potatoes all the time.
Well, you did okay for yourself.
Look at the swipe down right there. Good call from the officials along the sideline. Both of them had it right.
9th Kentucky turnover. And the three-point struggles for the Cyclones that they're trying to fight their way through. High Z. Reset Lipsy. Deflected. Diabate again making it happen. Boy, then it was kicked. Boy, fortunate no technical was whistled.
Thing. A little bit of a frustration when they were off his foot.
Kip Kissinger with the length to his fuse. Nicely done. As we come up on the final 2 minutes before halftime. Diabate into the corner. Wildcats patiently in their set. Moreno, and they're going to get Buchanan.
Another good set.
Coming up, AT&T at the half. Get all the scores and highlights, plus the latest NCAA tournament news. It's all to come on AT&T at the half. So 2:07 left. 5-point Kentucky lead. Jim, biggest takeaways for you so far in this first half?
I think a little bit of it is how Kentucky started first 5 minutes, and then they kind of faded for an 8 or 10 minute mark, and now they seem to be getting better under control for Mark Pope and running their sets. So it's been up and down, but pretty consistent. I think Iowa State is really just, I'm not so sure Spiro, it's missing Jefferson as much as they're just not getting into the rhythm for their shots. 1 of 14 from the three-point. Right. Credit Kentucky's perimeter defense for a bunch of that.
First game that Joshua Jefferson has missed in its 2 years in Ames with this program. Momcilovic, 6 to shoot.
Look at the perimeter. Every single touch of the ball.
Momcilovic, the spin. Tough shot, fight for it. Moreno unable to squeeze it. Momcilovic with a whip. He'll fire and buries it.
Jelly bean.
10 points for the 4-point marksman. And another unforced turnover for the Wildcats.
Because if he did not step out of bounds just then, and here's the confidence. Yeah, wow, he's like within an inch of hitting that stride on the outside, going out of bounds. And then the other end, they would have gotten a dunk on that play if not for stepping out of bounds with Williams. They're having their trouble as well, just trying to get perimeter shots here. They may have to just catch and go. Not even catch and think, but catch and go.
TJ Otzelberger has said, can we be a good enough team to figure out a way to win on nights where we're not shooting the basketball well? Plata, beautiful backdoor cut, high Z, and he's going to shoot free throws.
Well, to that point, they're 2 of 15 from the three-point stripe, so this is one of those afternoons where they may just have to figure that out on the fly.
Otzelberger and his staff, this thing that they built, he said it's been a big focal point for me and my assistants over the years. You know, it's those games when it's all working for you, it's easy. When guys are hitting threes, they can light it up as good as any team in the country, but it's those nights where the shots aren't falling. Can we give them the answers that they need to win games?
Yeah, keep in mind, too, Spiro, when you look at the numbers statistically, Kentucky averages 81 points a game, Iowa State at 83. Look at this score and multiply it almost by 2, and you got a game in this right around 60, right? So this is not the way they're accustomed to scoring at any rate.
Malachi Moreno takes a seat, second personal on Mark Pope's bench. Final 53 seconds.
No fouls to give for either team.
Chandler bottled up by Nelson. Aberdeen lost it. Here comes Momcilovic into the corner layup. Nelson, no, but he is bumped. And all the momentum right now favoring the Cyclones.
Yeah, and one of the things is that if you're not shooting the ball well, Iowa State will come at you defensively on the perimeter. And watch this, they come back from a spot outside the perimeter. They fall back in. Nelson that time. And here he goes again, making a defensive set play. And now coming to the line after he hustles back down the floor to get to the basket.
Kentucky in this game, 11 field goals, 11 turnovers. They jumped out to that early 12-point lead. And if you're TJ Otzelberger, boy, you have to be quite pleased. No Joshua Jefferson, the three-point struggles. And right now in a one-score game here in St. Louis. Dominic Nelson, a young man, getting a chance. Stepping up to the free throw line. 2-point game with 30 seconds left before halftime.
One of the things, they don't shoot free throws that well as a team. 68%. Nice hands from behind.
Lipsy to steal.
Now you hold on to it. Worst case, you go in down 2 if you're Iowa State.
Next Kentucky foul puts the Cyclones in the double bonus. Lipsy. High Z. Iowa State takes the lead.
Spiro, worst case you go in, right? Down 2. But they ran that set as perfectly as you can with the shot clock. There's about 4 seconds on the shot clock now. Shots in the air. It comes down with 1. You can't do anything from that point on if you're Kentucky.
John standing by with Taman Lipsy.
Taman, this is a prize fight. How do you have the lead?
Man, it's a dog fight. We haven't been shooting the ball well, but we're still fighting. We're getting to the rim. We're playing defense, creating turnovers. That's what we do.
Did it take a couple minutes to get the offense going without Jefferson?
Most definitely. That was one of our worst halves offensively, I think, shooting the ball. So we're just going to come out in the second half, stay confident.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Spiro.
All right, John, they had taken the early 2-0 lead. They had not led since, but the Cyclones close with 8 unanswered to take a 1-point lead. Everyone back into their seats here in St. Louis for the final 20 minutes as we take a look at our first half stats presented by Degree. 3-point struggles for Iowa State. That's part of the story, but the Kentucky turnovers looming large. Just a couple of moments ago outside the Kentucky locker room, John Rothstein with Denzel Aberdeen.
All right, Denzel, how did they take the lead there at the end of the first half?
Yeah, we got to do a better job taking care of the ball. They kind of sped us up on the offensive side, and on the defensive side, 22 got a couple foul calls, a couple wide open threes, so we got to limit him to shots. But it just comes down to us taking care of the ball.
And as you look forward now to the second half, how do you get easier baskets against their 2-point defense?
Yeah, just taking care of the ball. First half, they, like I said, at the end, they sped us up. So just us playing for each other, playing off 2 feet, and finding open shots. We'll be fine.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
All right, so the second half begins. An Iowa State team playing without Joshua Jefferson. And another question for Mark Pope and his team. Can they take care of the basketball, Jim, here in the second half? As Lipsy works in the corner, he will launch and gets the party started with a three-pointer deep in the corner.
Well, that makes it different for Iowa State for sure at the offensive end. But keep in mind, to John's point, quick interview there, they've forced 12 turnovers. Iowa State has. They had led the Big 12 in that category during the course of the season.
Alway, that is a high degree of difficulty. Cyclones led for all of 18 seconds in the first half. They had multiple scoring droughts. But with that defense that they play, creating extra possessions, they're able to snatch that 1-point lead at the intermission as Torrey misses in the corner.
Because Alway start to get things cooking in the second half like he did the other night is the question.
Denzel Aberdeen, that championship pedigree that he brought over from Gainesville, not that time. Yelovich quickly closes on Momcilovic, who wanted to pull that three.
I think when a big guy is guarding him, he gets his shot off a little easier outside. Heisey forcing the action in the middle of the floor.
Nate Heisey, who stepped into the vacated role left by Joshua Jefferson. As we take a look at Alway, he's been kind of grasping at that right hand. Right there, we think is where it happened. Then the brace of that fall, you see the stretch of the wrist.
Yeah, two different great shots of that possibility that could be aggravated.
Momcilovic, beautiful little floater, teardrop, as he comes down the paint. Four-point Cyclones lead. Alway, tough baseline jumper. And the rebound corralled by Lipsy. Heisey. Ortega Alway, who hit the shot for the ages the other night. We're going to bump here. It's going to be on Ortega Alway after another Kentucky turnover, and that's going to be the third personal on Kentucky star. Let's remind you where these teams sit in the brackets. Winner moving on to Chicago in the Sweet 16. They'll take on the winner between Tennessee and Virginia, a game that's going to tip just after 6 o'clock Eastern on TNT. And that's a critical call as Mark Pope, Jim, is going to sit Alway here less than 3 minutes into the half.
And I'm also looking over at the bench, too. See if he's holding that hand at all. Uh-oh.
Oh, see, wow, what a block. Unreal defense.
Was lost for a second, but boy, did he ever regroup in a hurry.
Able to get to Buchanan, and then Buchanan making it happen. The save, they get it on the wing. Nice little backdoor cut. Yelovich lays it in.
And how about the catch, too? Pass was down low around his knees, and he gobbled it up and finished it off.
Beautifully set up by Cam Williams. And a big basket for the Wildcats. Here comes Heisey to the reset Lipsy. Lipsy squares, fires, and connects.
There's a little screen. When the screen vacates, if the defender goes with that screen for a split second, guards will be able to get their shot off that much easier.
Joshua Jefferson helplessly looking on. Who would step into the void? Lipsy has been terrific. 15. Aberdeen missed it, and then Moreno is fouled on a putback attempt as he crashes the offensive glass.
When you see up high here, watch the defender in one. Number one, he gets hidden just for a split second. And Aberdeen gets lost. And where is he? Not there quick enough. 31% shooter from the three-point stripe. So you can say, well, maybe I can hang back just a little bit. Not if he's got a straight-on shot like he did just then.
Malachi Moreno, the freshman out of Georgetown, Kentucky, grew up about 25 minutes north of Lexington at a great Crossing High School. He was a McDonald's All-American last year. Mr. Basketball in the state of Kentucky after leading Great Crossing High to the state title. Highly touted prospect who has stepped into a huge role for Mark Pope in his first year in the program. 3-point game with 3.5 minutes gone by in the second half. They're going to get Chandler here off ball as he tries to contend with Momcilovic, and that's going to be his second.
Yeah, team third in the first 3.5 minutes or so.
And the chess match between these two coaches continues. Mark Pope, TJ Otzelberger coached against each other a couple of those years that Mark Pope was at BYU. And as we get another whistle here against Kentucky. And that's going to be the third personal on Chandler.
See, the interesting part to me just then was Lipsy made a decision to go very quickly. It was Chandler with the push right there from behind.
And now if you're Kentucky, you only have 2 more fouls to give, Jim, with 16 and change left. Momcilovic, and he's going to shoot free throws.
All right. We've been doing a lot of basketball games, you and I. Have you seen 5 fouls called this quickly in this short amount of time?
Or in this kind of a pressure game.
Yeah, exactly.
And that looms awfully large now. Mark Pope looking over at his assistants on that Kentucky bench as they try to process the situation. And Iowa State's lead at 4. Watch whip-around coverage of all men's games with Fast Break presented by Home Depot in the NCAA March Madness Live app.
And Spiro, 5 for 20 is the number right now that Iowa State is sitting on with their 3-point shooting. So what does that indicate? Foul trouble. Number 1, go to the basket. Number 2, you're not shooting the ball that great. Go to the basket. We'll see if they can execute.
Keep in mind, Owe is on the bench with those 3 personals. So they need some bench minutes here. Williams bottled up in the corner. Heisey coming over. Looks like they're going to get Heisey on a reach-in over the back. One thing to keep in mind for Kentucky, you don't have a lot of natural point guards with the injuries. Remember Jalen Lowe, the shoulder surgery in January. That's been a big headline for Mark Pope's team this year. Aberdeen has had to slide over from the 2 to the 1.
And part of the problem, to your point, Spiro, the turnovers that they have might just very well be part of that. That's smart going to the basket. After the calls were being made down the other end, drive it to the basket if you're Kentucky to get this thing to be evened out a little bit more.
Both teams fighting a trip to the Sweet 16 on the line here in St. Louis. There's your score. 5-point lead for the Cyclones. Shorthanded as we play early stages second half. Let's go to our AT&T Connected Cam. Look at the vertical by Chandler up high to get Buchanan at the rim. Just incredible defense.
Yeah, when you look at it too, right before that he was about 2 or 3 strides out of the play and not there. So athletically getting back after being beaten towards the basket to save a bucket. Everything counts in this game.
Mark Pope is going to keep Otega Owe on that Kentucky bench. Picked up his 3rd personal early in this half. Malachi Moreno, the freshman at the free throw line, to try to cut this down to 3.
Yeah, I think that's a good move by Mark Pope. I don't think you run the risk of getting him a foul over the next 3 or 4 minutes. And maybe you'll see him go possibly to the under 12 media timeout. Let him get some good rest, but missed opportunities at the line for Kentucky.
Lipsy gets Aberdeen on his back.
That's going to be
goaltend. Clearly on the way down. And now the Cyclones have their largest lead.
He's tricky though, isn't he? Look at him. And then he floats it up underhand, gets it there quickly. Yep. Good call.
Well, just like TJ Otzelberger said, Lipsy won't have many back-to-back off games. He's had 17 so far. Aberdeen able to draw contact. He's going to get himself to the free throw line. In a critical moment right now for the Kentucky Wildcats. You got Owe on the bench. You're down 7. and your offense in disarray, who can galvanize this team right now with everything that's at stake for these two teams? Aberdeen's line so far, young man out of Orlando, Florida. First 3 seasons of his collegiate career at Florida. And a key reserve last season on that national championship team. CBS Tonight, when your loved one goes missing, he's the man for the job. Justin Hartley stars in an all-new Tracker tonight after Marshalls on CBS. So great to have you with us here in St. Louis. Spiro Ditas, Jim Spinarkle, John Rothstein, and the producer Bill Thayer, and Mike Arnold, our director, rest of our CBS crew. Clayton. He's tall. He's not that tall.
No, not at all. Wow. Don't see Lipsy do that often. This is going way airborne. I think he was trying to challenge Aberdeen with his 3 fouls initially, and then he realized he had an opportunity for a mini lob there.
Only the 6th Iowa State turnover in the game.
14 for Kentucky.
Aberdeen defended by Heisey. On the wing, Williams, a little bit too much. Rebound, Momcilovic.
Good spot on the floor for that rebound. He didn't try to head towards the basket. The long shot kicking out.
Here comes Heisey.
Nice fake.
Bateman on the slash. Bateman, no. Clayton. And he's bumped. He'll shoot.
Yeah, Chandler with the 3 fouls also. You noticed him on that perimeter just then. He was beat to his left. Right here. And then he kind of stays away just because he can't get that extra call against him.
Jim, I think they may count the basket.
Yeah,
they say goaltend.
Yeah, I thought so when that ball went up there. That was pretty close to a goaltend.
And now Mark Pope is going to challenge. So the call on the floor is made basket and a potential and 1. But Mark Pope immediately gets the attention of Kip Kissinger, and they will challenge here.
Call on the floor was a made basket due to goaltending with 1 shot.
So a big potential sequence here as they will take a closer look. Foul charge to Aberdeen is his 4th personal for Kentucky. A successful challenge by Mark Pope, so they're going to take the basket off the board. No basket interference. The other big thing of this, they're going to change the call. Initially, they patted on Aberdeen, which would have been his 4th. They give it to Diabate as Plata readies at the free throw line. Let's bring in Gene Steratore. Gene, I think you agreed with this call, correct?
Yeah, sure did, Spiro. Look, the ball's coming off of the rim, and for those asking whether the hitting of the net causing the basket, the hoop, or something to move, if the basketball is on top of the ring and then hitting the net causes some vibration that would affect that ball, then that would be basket interference. In this case, ball's away when he hits the net, inconsequential. Great job ruling, good challenge as well.
Yeah, great clarification there, Gene. Thanks.
So Dominicus Plata calmly steps up, drills some free throws. If you've just hopped on with us, with 2:07 left in the first half, Kentucky led the game 30-23. Since that point, they've been outscored 21-8.
Yeah, they just have not been able to get in a good recovery mode in terms of the way they've been not executing, turning the ball over a bunch. It's up to 14. And playing with 3 guys with foul trouble. So they get on the floor.
Diabate just lost his footing.
Yep, that's a tie-up.
Officials say jump possession arrow favors Kentucky. Ortega Owe is back on the floor, Jim, for the Wildcats here with 14:28 left. And the Wildcats looking for something to settle their offense.
Good work there by Heisey, too. Just not jumping on the player on the floor. Sometimes there's a tendency to just jump on the player first. You go get the basketball, and then that's a good call. Sometimes you get a foul just by jumping on the guy too early.
Underneath out of bounds with Cam Williams.
Oh, 5 seconds, I believe. Just can't have that if you're Kentucky. That's a great shot of Mark Pope. You know, just almost scratching his head about why we can't just get the ball in play on that particular out of bounds.
15 Kentucky turnovers.
Lob.
We have seen precision offense from Iowa State.
Lipsy continues to direct the traffic. Better than the Kentucky point guards right now.
We just consider what they lost without Jefferson. All the scoring, all the playmaking ability. And Lipsy has picked up the slack. The Abate hounded underneath.
One of the consistent things about Iowa State is you see Lipsy come over, pick and roll, delivered right on the money. Watch where he sets this up. And Buchanan, very active, knows exactly what to do with that one.
A sweet dime from Lipsy. Olway elevates, rattles it down for a monster shot for the Wildcats.
It's safe to say he might get more involved in this second half like he did the other night.
The Wildcats fans certainly hoping that's the case.
Yep.
28 of his career high, 35 the other night came after the break. What does he have left up his sleeve? With everything on the line here in St. Louis. Lipsy, back rim, no. Buchanan, no. Long rebound away.
Try to go one-on-one. Yep.
So the basket goes left, missed it. Moreno, boy, had a chance. It slipped through his fingertips.
Sure did. How about the move by Olway going outside there and just driving it to the basket? Expect to see more of that.
Torrey, full head of steam.
Well, he played so very well the other night. His confidence should be relatively high, and especially after that drive. You saw the seam on the left side. Nobody behind to block a shot. Kentucky, I think, is going to call a timeout, talk things over.
Could they be the latest team to make a deep run from Dayton? First four as they are through to the Sweet 16.
It was a heck of a game last night.
Unbelievable.
Nebraska, wasn't it?
Cornhuskers.
Boy, was that a game.
Finally tasting NCAA tournament success. In the meantime here, questions for Kentucky. Down 8 with 12:48 remaining. How do they jumpstart their offense, Jim?
I think it has to be going towards the basket. I'm not going to rely on their outside shooting. Now, you take it once in a while when you have them, but this is kind of floating around with 10 seconds on the clock. They haven't done anything yet in terms of on the attack mode. There we go, finally going past somebody.
Oh, wait, they're going to get a trip here. Tony Chiazza all over it.
See, I'm not so sure from Kentucky at this point, Spirit, of that point. Yes, they get something out of it, but they get it late in the shot clock. I think Mark Pope would probably want them to get into it a little bit more aggressively. I think much earlier in the shot clock possession. Let's see what they do here with the 20-second reset. There you go, a little quicker.
Aberdeen mid-range J won't go. Garrison.
I think he was.
Officials say never had control, so no travel. The Abate.
Wow.
Tough pass. Lipsy.
He's quick.
That's a 4-point swing. 10-point game.
This Iowa State defense. I'm glad I'm sitting over here with you, Spiro. Well, most of the day.
There's a lot of great teams in the SEC. There aren't many that defend the way the Cyclones do. Another takeaway. Heisey.
Wow.
This suffocating Iowa State defense forcing 17 Kentucky turnovers.
And when they get it, they can go with it. I love the way the guards search out the big guys before they get their shot. They almost look you right in the eye as they're coming down the floor, and they say, listen, I'm going to drive it to the basket, but I'm also going to bump into you. Let's see if you can block it, and then I'll shoot it afterwards. Both of them back-to-back drives were just like that.
And look at what they have done since that 90-second mark of the first half. 17 Kentucky turnovers. They have to go back 54 games. The last time they've had this many. And we still have 11 and change left. Critical moment right now for the Wildcats. 12-point deficit with 11:31 left. Garrison. And he's going to shoot free throws. That's a man's play right there.
Yeah, one of the few entry passes to the post for Kentucky also this half. So they've not, two things, they've not gotten it off the dribble into the lane to make things happen, nor have they gotten it to the post on direct passes until really that time.
Foul charge to Heisey, his third. And now both teams are out of fouls, so both will be in the bonus from this point forward. Brandon Garrison, who's such a big role in their win over Santa Clara in the first round of the tournament. And he goes 1 of 2 at the line. John.
Spiro, you know, talking to Mark Pope yesterday, he constantly reiterated how many games they desperately missed a table-setting point guard like Jalen Lowe. Today is another example. Right now, guys, Kentucky, 8 assists, 17 turnovers. They don't have a true point, Jim.
Yeah, that's a wild number, John, when you think of it. 17 turnovers. They average about just under 11 per game on the season.
Here comes Torrey. 20 spin. All the electricity in his legs.
Where are they getting all their damage done too? Going to the basket. They've stopped taking the threes unless they have to.
Biggest lead for either team. Garrison throws it into the bench.
They have Kentucky and Mark Pope's squad really second-guessing themselves at the offensive end right now. But the drives have been really emphatic. That's 3 in a row we've seen.
Kentucky had a 12-point lead early in the first half. They jumped on Iowa State. But my goodness, how this thing has turned. Buchanan, beautiful lead. Torrey. And right now, Kentucky can't stop the bleeding. 8 for Torrey. Mark Pope wants a timeout. Certainly danger zone right here if you're Mark Pope in Kentucky. Down 15 points with 10:21 left. Just wondering what he can do here in terms of some answers.
Yeah, they've had their hands full with the way these guys look at this, still playing the perimeter. Deflections and steals. Just relentless defensive effort so far in the second half in particular. And it's just not allowing Kentucky to get anything going. Remember I said a moment ago, Spiro, get it down the floor and get into your offensive sets quicker if you can. But they're just not letting them do that as a team.
Aberdeen shot clock at 5 again, stagnant. Buchanan rips it away.
And they're making good decisions on the drive.
Milan Momcilovic, shot maker. And this thing has ballooned to 18 points.
And once again, a stagnant offense for Kentucky right now.
Well, if there was ever a time for Olay to try to take the thing over, it's right here. It goes glass.
Yep, good recovery right there. Watch out, nobody's picking him up.
Heisey, but just so smart. He saw the seam and he took it.
Both guys just split. There was nobody stepping up to stop the ball.
It's a 15-3 run for the Cyclones over the last 4 and change. Aberdeen way too much.
Whoa, look at that, Spiro. Nobody picked it up. Oh.
Those are 2 free points for Olay with Lipsy hitting the deck.
Did you see the 2 Iowa State players? They were right next to the basketball, and I think each of them thought the other was going to pick the ball up.
Iowa State Cyclones, a team that was upset in the second round last year as a 3 seed. And they take the next step here.
Watch that reverse pivot.
Momcilovic into the paint. Double teamed. Lipsy. Little hip check and he goes glass.
I just love the way these guys have been taught and trained and worked on the skill of hitting you first and then shooting second. All the guys who are like swing forwards and smaller are very, very good at it. Oh, look at the step in there, almost another steal.
Chandler And Kentucky just can't keen to find their three-point stroke. They're now 6 of 18. And look at the extended run. Again, from that 90-second mark, late first half, 37-15 Cyclones.
And the balance of what they're doing in the half-court sets, taking their time, but also the transition. Uh-oh, watch out.
Momcilovic!
Oh, every time you...
Oh, Torre takes a hard fall. Boy, I hope he's okay. Still down. I hope just trying to gather himself.
Take a
Last thing
minute.
this team needs is another injury with concerned fans behind that Iowa State bench. It was Owe who was whistled for the foul. That's going to be his 4th. But now the concern on Kylian Torre, who now slowly rolls onto his back here in St. Louis. The officials are not going to elevate, so just a common foul. The best news is that Kylian Torre is back onto the floor. Looks like he's okay. Looked to be a very nasty spill. Jim, as we take another look at the replay.
Yeah, the best part about this from my perspective is that that right arm got down kind of in a hurry to brace the fall a little bit. That is that whiplash effect too, as you see the head. Hard to tell whether it hit the floor though just then.
So because Torre is out of the game,
right
now they get to choose.
Kentucky gets.
Kentucky will pick who shoots the free throws. They select Buchanan, who is a 48% free throw shooter, and he knocks down the first. But boy, a team that has been just rocked by the Joshua Jefferson injury.
Right.
Thankfully, looking like Torre is okay. That's a freshman who has played and started in every game this season for TJ Otzelberger.
Looked a little better than 48% just then, didn't he, at the line? The results did.
And you know those Cyclones fans know all about that, giving them some encouragement. Look at the turnovers by the Wildcats.
Still a long way to go, too. It's just a touch over 7.5.
Johnson, and he coughs it up.
There's just nothing easy, Spiro. There are no easy entry passes. And look at the defenses. 3 guys within striking distance from Iowa State just then to get you as a guard. As you're coming through, you're looking for 1, you're looking 2. And then you say, oh, man, there's another guy here. They're fumbling it all over the place.
One thing about Iowa State, you're going to beat this team. Look at Heisey coming to the wreck.
Oh, they're picking them apart in terms of the execution and the half-court sets. They get the high Z, gets them drifting towards half court a little bit and leaning. Nice hands there out front.
You just can't overstate the value of a player like Nate Heisey. My goodness, you have a guy like him with the experience to plug him in. There's Owe, nice little cut to the basket.
They took him to the 10-second mark in the shot clock. Wow, look at this one. Boy,
Bateman transition 3. Wow. There's nothing bashful about that young freshman.
Well, catching that one from long range. A little under 40% at 38.
Boy, he really started to catch fire in February. His confidence shot up. And a key reserve piece.
Yeah, it's just nothing easy, really.
Long 2 won't go. Deep in the corner from Jasper Johnson. And it belongs to Iowa State.
Yeah, watch the lean over there. You see, you lean towards half court if you're defending right then. Diabate was out of position, and High Z just took advantage of it in a hurry. Yeah, giving slapping 5 for everybody along the bench because he's put some nice numbers up in the last 2 nights.
High Z's been as valuable a piece as they've had in these first 2 tournament games. Season high 22 in the first round win over Tennessee State. And trying to fill some of that void with the absent Joshua Jefferson. Great sign as Kylian Torre is back into the game now for Iowa State. As we are inside of 6 minutes left.
They've only turned it over 6 times, too.
Torre, not that time, swatted out by Garrison. Kentucky trying to work quickly. Aberdeen on a deep 3. That'll cut it to 20. With 5:34 remaining, 15 for Aberdeen. But again, Jim, you just have to marvel. You know, You take away a player of Jefferson's calibers, we're going to get a 1-1 here. There's so many teams would go in the tank, but you just consider the program, the culture that TJ Otzelberger has built. You know, everyone in the building at 6 a.m. in the morning, almost a militaristic culture that they've built, and it's just next man up. It's the mentality that they have built in Ames, Iowa.
Yeah, and the key thing about it when you talk to TJ, you know, ask him about it, and he doesn't spring that on kids. Once they get there, he says, oh, by the way, you got to come into the building at 6 for 8 o'clock practices. He has the culture. He has set the culture. He's successful with it. And when he recruits, he wants kids who are ready to buy into it. And he gets them. And look at the byproduct of what he's established here.
Let's check in with John.
Well, Spiro and Jim, you know, catching up with Kelvin Sampson before we came out here to St. Louis, you know, one of the things he noted when he was talking about Iowa State was the leadership of Tamin Lipsey. And guys, we've seen that today, a flawless performance from the veteran point guard, Spiro and Jim.
There goes John name dropping again on us. But Kelvin Sampson, you get the respect of Kelvin Sampson. You're doing something right.
Yeah, exactly. Nice steal.
3-pointer that time as Oway off the takeaway. So the Wildcats showing a little bit of a pulse here. 5 minutes left, 17 for Oway. Do they have one last push left in the tank here in St. Louis?
Yeah, they have to force a little action in the turnovers.
Made Heisey back into the game for TJ Otzelberger. Boy, somehow gets it to Torrey and finishing tight.
Yeah, two things just then. Spiro Heisey with that little fumble and kicking it over. Then Torrey fumbles it a little bit and gets it to fall into the net just then over the rim. Kentucky realizes this clock is working against them. 4:20-ish on the clock.
Away, the spin, the fire, short. Diabate unable to save, and Kentucky comes up empty.
So here he comes. He loses it just a touch. Yep. And then somehow before he hits the line to go out of bounds, he forces the action. Little fumble for the delivery and catch, but they go and get the bucket.
Iowa State Cyclones seeking their 3rd Sweet 16 in the last 5 years since TJ Otzelberger took over this program in Ames.
Not afraid to use the clock right now. They have to go soon. Just about 5 on it.
Lipsey into the corner, Torrey, and it's going to be a turnover. Dribbled it off of his foot, a rare mistake by what has been a high efficient offense. Mark Pope, TJ Otzelberger, as we come down the home stretch in St. Louis on CBS. There's your game summary. 19-point lead for Iowa State. We did have a challenge by TJ Otzelberger a moment ago. Successful challenge. So they're going to change the call, and the Cyclones are going to have possession. But the turnovers, Jim, the biggest number on that page. Most turnovers ever by Kentucky in an NCAA tournament game. Just too much to overcome against this kind of a team.
Here we go upstairs. Oh, what a call. What a call.
So there wasn't an official challenge, but the officials did change the call. And boy, the Cyclones capitalize. Their lead now at 21.
Buchanan put a challenge on the rim.
Cam Williams on the attack. A little bit late to get to his feet.
Over the top. I'll tell you one thing, Spiro, you do not see a out-of-bounds lob from the sideline all that often. What a call.
So this Kentucky program, the highs of one of the all-time moments in NCAA tournament history with their win over Santa Clara. You wondered what it would look like. You know, initially, say, no Joshua Jefferson, Kentucky may be the favorites in this game, and the cruelty of this tournament. And you just have one of those days with the turnovers. The margin for error is so slim against the team as well coached as Iowa State.
Yeah, and as we touched on at the half, remember that they led the Big 12 in forcing turnovers, an average of 15 per game. This is a touch better.
Heisey's going to run some clock.
And they don't turn it over, so this is a tough team to fight your way back from a deficit such as this.
Winner of this game moving on to Chicago and the Sweet 16, Lipsy. And he's not done just yet. He has been magnificent.
They used just about the entire shot clock, too, on that possession.
26 for Lipsy. Aberdeen crosses over Momcilovic and connects. High degree of difficulty on that shot.
Sure was. He was right on him defensively with his size also at 6'8".
So 18 for Aberdeen. That's his 4th 3 of the day for the Wildcats.
Just to sit here and take this, time off the clock like this. Just not so sure they're going to turn the ball over and give Kentucky that many opportunities unless they start doing something differently defensively.
Torrey can't hit, but they do use that clock again. Down to 2:08. Aberdeen, no.
Good board there. Buchanan getting in the fray again.
We asked T.J. Otzelberger timetable for Joshua Jefferson if they were going to be fortunate enough to advance. Didn't give us much. They're just going to hope for the best.
Right.
It's not your typical ankle injury. We heard the report from John Rothstein. And they just hope against hope. Not a couple of more days of rest. Momcilovic! Going to go down as one of the great three-point shooters in the history of college basketball. Ortega away. And he's going to get himself to the free throw line.
Momcilovic is just outstanding, isn't he, with shooting the basketball? Watch this. He just gets a little space. I mean, I don't even know there's that much to say a little bit of space there. Look at the bench. They know that every shot that goes up, there's a great chance that it's going to go in.
Grew up in Milwaukee. Former Pewaukee Pirate. So Ortega's mom, Tanya, and his brother, Agafe, of course, NFL star. Just signed a big contract extension with the Washington Commanders. They're not going to have the ending that they experienced the other night.
Yep. Doesn't look like Kentucky's going to foul or anything, just going to play it out.
Lipsy.
Now you just stay away if you're Iowa State. Play hard defense. Keep the hands away and don't put them to the line.
Aberdeen, little bump from Torrey. And we're down to 45.3 remaining. Winner of this one will advance to take on the winner between Tennessee and Virginia. What a season for the Cavaliers in the ACC, and Tennessee,
yes,
on their best nights, looked awfully good this season. A little bit of a stumble maybe down the stretch of the season, but you got some fierce potential matchups coming up next week.
I think it's worth mentioning also with the way they defend. Iowa State, Kentucky just kind of taking it out of it. Keep in mind, they hold teams to 65 points a game. One of the things we talked about, them scoring 80 each of these teams, but they clamp down on you when you think about the way they turned Kentucky over with the 20 turnovers. And by the way, Spiro, Iowa State, 7 turnovers in this game. With new rotations, too, without Jefferson. So you would think there'd be some fumbles along the way with the new guys out there getting some extra minutes, but they were seamless after the first 4 or 5 minutes of this game.
Buchanan misses. And boy, everyone knew that Tamin Lipsy would have to have a monster game. Without Joshua Jefferson, could he step in? And boy, did he ever. Career high for Lipsy, 26 points. And Iowa State is dancing to the Sweet 16. Their 3rd trip in the last 5 years under T.J. Otzelberger. And they do it without one of their stars, Joshua Jefferson. They took the game over from the 92nd mark, late first half, and never looked back. And meanwhile, the emotions of this tournament, one night, the joyous celebration for Kentucky, and now the finality that comes with the end of a season. The Cyclones moving on to the Windy City, where they await the winner between Tennessee and Virginia, coming up in just a little bit in Philadelphia. John Rothstein standing by with the winners.
All right, TJ Taman, congratulations. What was the key in that second half?
Well, I think our pressure defensively gradually kind of wore them down, allowed us to score off of our defense, and then our guys offensively made big shots at the end of the half to start the second half. And this guy right here controlled the whole game. There's nobody, I've said it all year, there's not a better point guard in America. I couldn't be more proud of this guy right here and what he does every single day.
Have you ever seen him play better?
He was phenomenal. He's always at his best when the best is needed, and so we didn't get to play him very much last game because of the fouls. So it's great to have him out there all game today.
How do you respond moving forward? Obviously, we don't know the status of Joshua Jefferson just yet.
Yeah, we just stay in our daily habits. We want to be consistent with how we work every single day. Our team's been playing great basketball, so this is the time of year you want to keep getting better. So get back to the practice floor. Let's get better.
All right, rest that voice. Let's get Taman in right here. Taman, what was your message to the team at halftime? You only had a small lead.
Man, just keep fighting. This is what we're made for. This is what we did over the summer to work for it. We didn't have our best first half, but we were going to have a good second half.
Why is the culture in this program so strong?
I mean, we go in and work every day. Daily habits, that's something that's huge in our program. And that it starts with our coach. It starts with TJ. You see them, how they work in the office every day, and the players just follow their lead.
You've been in this situation before. What changes when 32 becomes 16 in the NCAA tournament?
Hey, the stakes just get higher. I mean, it's more fun. It's more exciting. That's what you want in this tournament. You want to make it as far as you can. I've been to the Sweet 16 one time, and I'm looking to extend that stay.
Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Spiro.